All right, guys, we are back on the Stacked Craic podcast. Been a couple of weeks and quite a lot happened in that time frame as well. Plan is to keep this a wee bit more casual. That is the plan going forward. Keep away from the interview. I can't help myself.
Get Neil out of the interview mode, yeah. So we got rid of the backgrounds today and we were just going to roll with it anyway. So literally hit record from the start. There was no chit chat. So I haven't chat to you in a while. Looks like you've had a little lie-in this morning anyway by the head, didn't
I
you?
had half 6 in the morning. It's unbelievable, honestly unbelievable. You feel like
That's
you're,
a proper lie-in for a bodybuilder now at this stage at the end of prep. It's 6:30.
I see yours is still like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
It
man,
takes a while, like, it takes a while.
just literally 3:57, 3:58. I wake up even before the Lumi light comes on now. It's fucking mad. But I got to bed a little bit earlier last night. My sleep is definitely improving, but the fatigue this week, holy mother of God. I've never had fatigue ever. Like I've done shows back to back before, but I just think the last few weeks were just so hectic with travel and with work and then the stress last weekend on top of it. I literally did a pump session there for my legs on Monday, which was probably a bad idea, but I did fuck all. And it literally feels like I trained with Tom Platz again the other day. Like, you know what I mean? I'm broke up,
I
broke
gathered
up.
that, like, even messaging you, I was like, this guy's fucked.
Oh man, I was fucked. Like, yeah, just like even to this, like even I dropped the vlog for the weekend for the British finals, like, but I just wasn't even arse recording when I got over there. I was just everything was such a fucking effort, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was so annoying in some ways to be kind of nearly wishing the weekend away when I got there after all the stress of it, but it is kind of what it was. And looking back, I'm so glad I did Milan in the middle of it all now, you know, kind of way, because I kind of would have been like, oh, fuck. But I probably wouldn't have been as fatigued going to the British finals. And well, that stress still would have happened with the accommodation and everything. You've probably seen that. Holy
Aye.
fuck, man.
Was
I
that the day before or 2 days prior?
literally getting on the plane. I literally would message him that morning to see what the story was. And they said, "Oh yeah, you don't have a credit card, so you use a debit card. So here's the link to pay the damage deposit." And that was grand or whatever, £150 or whatever. And they said they'd send over the checking details after that. Then I was just busy running around, get to the airport then and looked in the booking.com messenger and I was like, still no checking details. So I was like, right, I'll message him now. Next thing I got this fucking automated email saying, sorry, there's been an issue due to
Oh,
the booking or whatever that unfortunately there's still tenants in the building. There's been a double booking, so your booking is now cancelled. And I'm just sitting in the airport about to get on the plane, and like five or six of us, because there ended up being six in the house because Eva ended up competing. And then I literally was just like, holy fucking Jesus, now this is all I need. And then I looked on booking.com quickly. Everything was sold out in Bradford. And I was like, for fuck's sake. So I got on the phone, oh man, and super drawl and stress in the airport. I fucking flipped it in the airport. I was wearing this fleece hoodie and I had a vest underneath because I was like, I had a coat of tan on. So I was like, I'll wear this hoodie because it's cold and I'll just keep this vest on then just in case I get too hot or whatever and I'm not getting fucking blotchy under my armpits or that. And I got so angry, man. I mean, sweat started coming out of me everywhere. So I had to take off the vest. I was walking down to the terminal on the phone, covered in tan, piss and sweat. I could feel everybody looking and pointing at me. And I got so fucking angry. And then I got onto the plane. I was still trying to sort it. Even your one was doing the demonstration, and I was still on the phone. And she was like, "We're taking off now. You need to get off the phone." Like, and I'm like, "I need to sort this." Like,
where did
and
you get
then
there?
what's that?
Did you get a place like nearby?
So basically, what happened then was after that, geez, on the flight over, then I had the worst adrenaline crash ever because it was like weeks of tiredness just hit me at once on the plane, and I was dead when we landed in Bradford. And then obviously, I was like, I hate when plans change because I paid for that in full 2 months ago. I knew everyone was going. I got a savage place. I had a massage booked that was just across the road, 2 minute walk in the morning. It was near the venue, near supermarket. So I had everything kind of laid out in my head. And I'm very, you know yourself, you get very OCD. And when that happened, then literally couldn't book anything. They were still saying now, okay, we need to transfer you back to booking.com because that's who you booked through. So I was on the phone and just giving out and literally said I'm getting a solicitor involved now if you don't get them people out of the house. I paid for this 2 months ago. And then by the time I landed in Bradford, I was literally blocked by them through the booking.com app. And then I had to like receive the code then to say, look, here is your fucking Indian operators on the far side of the world and here's your code to use. And rang through. I was literally got our bags and was on the phone for 45 minutes, an hour trying to get through to booking.com. And they basically said, look, oh, we're going to look for somewhere else and all this, and they're putting options. I was like, look, just give me my money back. I'll just go find a place myself. So they processed the refund and everything, and then we started looking, and we eventually just found one house that wasn't ideal. It had like a cinema room up top that could be converted into beds, and
Right.
so we literally got the last house in Bradford that was probably another 25 minutes out away, and it was in a fucking shithole as well.
Can be in
Uh,
Bradford, like it's not the nicest
Brad,
place for like.
oh man, I'd never go back there again. Absolute. Or even the next day, walking down the street, I was getting looked at like I felt like I was in a foreign country. I was the only white person, like you know what I mean?
It's strange. Like I felt the same like with Birmingham to some degree.
Yeah,
It's in
Bur
Bradford. It's a different level. I thought like it really was.
yeah, because Birmingham, I've been in there as well. Obviously, feels the same, but it's a city, and there's still a bit of a mix. Well, Bradford's just a town. You literally feel like, and it's just rubbish and shit everywhere. Like it's just so depressing. Like
Aye.
you know what I mean? So yeah, that was the start of all that. So very little sleep. Literally got to get a food shop, got in, and then just the stress of it all. And then I was like, right, now I'm coming around now. It's grand. The next morning, then went out for my massage, and the whole place is like closed up. Ring the number. It says, oh, we closed down. We're moving premises. We forgot to take the booking system off line. We'll refund you now. So I was like,
Fuck.
everything was going wrong. Then I walked into the city centre 15, 20 minutes from there to find somewhere and got a fucking seedy fucking massage in a Thai place, just to get something, like, you know what I mean? And
Relaxing one.
what's that? Yeah, it was relaxing. I nearly had to fucking tell her to fucking relax herself, like, you know what I mean? So that was just, it was just a mad few days. And then I ended up fucking clocking up without even realizing I was so fucked, just strolling around picking up rice cakes. I did like 8 or 9 thousand steps before like 1 o'clock, and then got back and was just, yeah, it was the whole few days was just a blur altogether. And then we were supposed to be on stage at 5 p.m. and it wasn't until 8:30 the following night. And it was just everybody, like, yeah, everyone that could be, because I've been chatting to everyone, like Sam Corio, Jamie Harrison, all the boys, but everyone was just so fucked and deflated. Everyone was fading a little bit. Like Sam and Jamie were obviously fighting for top spot. I mean, I know Josh Law was in there as well, and then this foreign guy turned up, but like literally everyone, as soon as the show was over, everyone just was so fucked and disappeared and wasn't in the humor for anything. Sure, didn't even stay to enjoy the pro show or anything. You know, I was just.
Yeah. It's shit that obviously not the experience that you want with it as well. And like, would you say, where would you say, like, how does it look? Like, were you happy with that? Or was it kind of like, I'm just
It
done with
was it was a bit mixed. Now that I actually received pictures, I'm like, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but I didn't feel the same. I definitely, with the stress and then front loading, I don't think that helped. And for my physique and standing in super heavies, like obviously I need to be in condition. I was, but I need to be fully blown. And I think then kind of tapering off and then having that stress and then the long day, I didn't have the same pop as I did in Milan.
yeah.
Although I was leaner through the glutes and hams, like my back just seems a little bit shallow. Arms were a little bit devolumized, the same with the pop across my chest and shoulders. And then obviously when you're competing against guys who are going for their pro card, and there was four lads there that were all worthy of a pro card in my lineup, you're kind of thinking like, yeah, I can't be small here. So the look, I definitely feel like Milan was probably the better look, but then there's some shots where I look sharper, but it was just my legs faded as well. I could even seem like my legs just looked like, nearly like how I didn't want them to look. The feedback I'm getting from the first shows where the injuries weren't apparent, but it nearly felt like in some of the shots the legs were just so deflated and tired looking.
Length of the day though, Connor, like I found that even with like the latest, like normally I'm on when I've been competing, it's been like 11 o'clock in the morning because it's been novice first timers. This year's a bit later, and then that UKBFF show was like 6:30, 7. I think the overalls was at 9, and I was like, I literally can't. I kept looking at my legs, going, I can't feel a thing here. They
Yeah,
just
yeah.
completely like went by that stage. So obviously, like that was the first experience of that for me. I'm sure you've had experiences of that, but even with that Two Bros show, obviously, like so I was sitting away, I was in Tenerife, and was trying to catch the live feed. Fucking.
Yeah, I
But
heard that
I
was a disaster as well, was
what
it?
the fuck was that? Like, and it was just going on for ages, waiting for people to come on. Like, so that becomes frustrating. It becomes really hard to fucking have the look that you actually want to have for that at that point too.
Yeah, it does. I think there was loads of giving out about the lighting at the pro show and the stream and everything as well. Now, the venue itself was pretty cool, but
Yeah.
man, the numbers for a British final, if you looked at the registration the day before, you're like, this place is gonna be hopping tomorrow. It was dead, like, you know what I mean? It was such a deflating kind of atmosphere in there and everything. And But never mind the venue, the stage looked well. And by the time the evening, the best thing about it was that there was loads of space for the bodybuilding because the numbers weren't massive. Like there was 17 or 18 supers in the regional the week before, and there was only turned out to be eight or nine of us in the at the British finals. Like you know what I mean. So it was very strange, and I think that a lot of guys had their eyes on the PCA the following day. So I'd say guys who didn't place that well in the regional were like, I'm not going back to this, and I'll do the PCA instead. Um,
Yeah, I can understand that. Like that's
yes,
kind of my stories as well. I was a bit like, why are we having two sets of British finals? Oh, there was an ABBA Universe too, like on the same weekend. To me, that was perplexing. I'm going, who's making that decision? Who's seen that and went,
I
well,
know,
same weekend? Because somebody has. I think
100%.
you're not giving athletes a chance because you could, if people wanted to, they could, do both. I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of the guys that was thinking, maybe we're not in with a shout out pro card. Maybe that's the reason, obviously, they went to the PCA. But if it would have been a week later, they might have just done them both. And it's like,
Done them
sure,
all.
everybody's a winner,
And
then.
and in fairness, some guys did. And Josh Law, I don't know if you've seen him. He
Aye.
looked incredible, incredible. And he was a bit hard done by. In my class, I felt as well because I just felt from a dominance point of view, he stood out. But I can kind of see where, from the NPC kind of way of looking at things, the foreign guy had a little bit more balance. But Josh is just an absolute freak. And then he just went. He's done 8 shows now, and
Aye.
then he literally went back that night. Then we drove the whole way to Telford, and then competed at PCA, won his class one, and then won the overall in and came third in the pro in the PCA. Like he's fucking some man.
It's a good way for him to end it because he has literally rolled through show. He was at my show in Birmingham.
Yeah, yeah.
For me now, I think it's like a lifetime ago, about
Yeah,
maybe 7, 8 weeks ago. So he's just been rolling through them. So like, fair play to for that. Are you happy? You're done. Are you happy you're in the off season now? Or
yeah. I'm definitely happy. Like, obviously, the original plan, thinking back, remember we obviously chatted last time was rolling into PCA, but I've no real, I don't really care too much about it, and I just feel like, yeah, I'm glad it's done now. And obviously that weekend made it me more wanted like that. Yeah, I'm fucking thank fuck this is done now. So,
I always
for
think you just know when it's time
yeah,
to call it. Because everybody could say, why not hold on? But like I always go, yourself and you're like, it's even for me at that British finals, although that was like, I'm really pleased I've done that and I got that. I was like backstage going, oh,
yeah,
looking at the clock, to be honest with you, and going, when am I actually done for this? You know what I
I
mean? You
know.
have to come out and be, hey, Mr. Performer too.
I know. Yeah. Look, obviously, look, it's exciting rolling on the shows, but there is a point where your body's telling you, like, and you know. And I think I'm going to be posting my post-show reflection video live on my YouTube tonight as well. But the big thing for me as well, man, I've used Superdraw before in the past, and I like it in terms of having it in for a short stint. But because we had it in before Milan and rolling through, I don't think even mentally it agreed with me the longer I was in my body as well. Like I even just looking back about how I was at home and like just patience and how I was feeling. Like it puts a fucking darkness inside you, man. Even like thinking back how I reacted in the airport
Yeah.
over that whole booking thing, I'm like, that's a little bit our character for me. Like you know what I mean? And even just like thinking back about maybe if I had a conversation with someone like Jesus, thinking back, did I kind of come across very fucking blunt there more than
Yeah.
I would? Like, yeah, and it's not nice. So I don't think it's something I'll use again if I am ever competing, but or I'll just keep it in for the last few days. But keeping it in for 3 weeks straight is not good now. And I think that just as well, although it was helping with the look a little bit, then that further stress on the mind and body, and then I don't think it really serves its purpose for what it does either.
I think it's interesting, like, because I like my experience of it, like a lot of PEDs, especially like orals that are used like for that kind of specific purpose. Like I had it for 2 days this time, so didn't feel a massive difference with it. But when I've used it before, it's like there was a burden I
Yeah.
would describe on me. Like everyone was just heavy. There was this like constant agitation, like all
Yeah,
the time. And
you're just amped up all the time, and you need to be, and that's why even like the change of plans was just such a like a bomb to me because it's like you're OCD when you're on prep, but I think the super draw even makes you more with the little bit of trend that's in there makes you like laser focused on everything, and as soon as something goes off, you just don't like that whatsoever. Like you realize that like you're obviously, we talked about before, you have your routine of having your last meet with your YouTube and you might not be talking and all that. But I think that Super Draw enhances that by 100 even more, like,
uh,
and
yeah, it's interesting, like, that you're talking about it because like it's something I've reflected on. I've got to a point where I'm coming up in 4 weeks post show, and obviously you'll go through this whole like period, and you've done it plenty of times. I think every time it's different though. For like I found it's really only taken me. I went on that holiday to Tenerife. I
Yeah,
booked. It served like I was like, fuck, I don't want to go here. I'm so locked in.
yeah,
See, still like, and I went and I was like, fuck, I need it.
needed that.
Yeah, like I come back and I'm like, oh, this is the person I am. Like there was when I look back on it, there was a real like fucking off, very agitated, very focused, but a focus that was kind of to a point like slightly unnecessary.
Yes,
The
yes.
focus was causing me a stress that wasn't actually
100%.
like
There's a there's a fine balance there, isn't it? And you don't realize when you go over that edge. And I think I'm already seeing that and noticing it now as well. And I think you having that reset, I'm doing the same now. I'm off to Portugal in 2 days, and I just think I need it because you do get hyper focused to the point where it's actually diminishing for your mind and your body then as well. Like you know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to jump from show to show,
yeah.
and it's not good. Like you know, and I think then like it just everything else suffers around you then, and then that's why even probably in certain relationships and people are like, oh, I can't deal with him in prep ever again because you don't need to be like that. And it's good for you to kind of you have to be able to step back and kind of analyze things and not ignored. Because I could just say ignored and go, the super draw served its purpose for what it is, and
Yeah.
then just kind of ignore even what say Karen or someone's saying and then just keep using it the next time. But it's pointless if you actually stand back and look at it. It's not really gonna if everything else is suffering because of it, it's not really going to show in your physique then either, you know, and that's where you have to kind of make the right calls for your body and just for your own peace of mind as well.
It's a melting pot, like Conrad. There's so much, as you say, the show to show thing, because you need to be. I say you need to be. You do need to be on it, right? But
Yeah,
then you're putting this complete burden on yourself of like, right, I need this, I need that, and there's just this bit more angst with it, It's and then it's the diet, the drug load, the lack of sleep. Like to me, the lack of sleep, because even coming off everything there, like still not sleeping, I was going crazier because I'm like I
yeah,
actually feel like myself, but I'm not sleeping. And I don't have that same like intensity and focus. Just let me fucking sleep,
yeah.
And that's really only been Tenerife that kind of reset that
And
because
I was just going to say that, like, because I think what you were competing in between, say, 202, 208 is kind of rough stage weights. Am I
yeah,
right in saying
yeah,
that? And now
yeah,
you're about 216, are you?
yeah, 218 there.
Yeah. And that's what I'm telling you. And even this week for myself, when I carved up, I think I was 246, 247, then we tapered off. And this morning my weight is 244. And it was already creeping up. Like I think the only thing I've had that's technically not on my plan, I've had a few extra Rice Krispie square bars. I've added in a square of dark chocolate. I added put butter in my fucking potatoes and my salmon meal. I made mashed potato. Like and now I'm kind of thinking like, hold on a minute. My weight's after dropping again today.
Yeah,
My sleep last night, although I slept through the night, I'm up early and then I do a couple of hours work, and next thing, boom, I'm hitting that wall again. And I'm like, you need to let. That's what even Al said to me because he's like, he's put up my diet now and 150 grams of rice and some of my meals, and I'm like, but my baseline was only 80. I'm not training this week. He wants me out of the gym, so I'll just go 100. And you know what I mean? It's kind of like all you're doing is delaying and prolonging that fatigue and your
yeah.
sleep and recovery. And as much as like you want to keep things tight, your body wants to get to a certain point where you're not going to put on body fat that quick if you're still on top of things, but you need to let your body weight come back up to that sweet spot where it wants to be, and that's where then sleep and your recovery and that fatigue will properly drop off, and that's exactly what happened to you now on holidays, and where you
I
needed
needed
that.
that. Like Wardy
Yeah,
was saying to me, like Neil, you actually need to let go of the reins a bit. Like I was like yourself coming out of it going, I don't need off means I'm fucking good here. I'm
yeah,
lost.
yeah,
I didn't for a few weeks and I was staying tight and I was like, why am I staying tight? Like what am
yeah,
I doing here? And then obviously the holiday, I was like, well, it's nice to have a few abs by the fucking beach. Like
yeah,
and then I had a couple of like brownies and that sort of stuff. And I was like, fuck, I genuinely feel I've slept like a baby. And since then it's like, right, food's went up and generally starting to feel like I am recovered. I think everybody has their own set point there where they need to be at. Some
yeah,
people stay that little bit leaner. Some people have to get that little bit like softer, but I think
yeah.
soft pretty relative too from where you're in inside out condition. Like
Yeah, exactly. You're soft now at the minute with
yeah,
like 12 pounds up is still like, someone's fucking stage fucking look, that kind of way. And that's where exactly you just have to let it go. And obviously we want to nail this post-show period, but you're still nailing it, but like exactly didn't even eat the night after the show, everyone got a takeaway and I was like, I'm just having a bowl of fucking rice pudding and going to bed. And
we're
it's
both
like,
fat. We're the same. The
ah,
same cooking
it,
book.
and looking back 5, 6 years ago, I would have been the type of person that would literally have just got all the food and had it all stocked in the house and literally lying in bed to a point where I'm sick. And obviously, I would never do that again. But and now I've gone the complete opposite. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like that's not healthy either. You
No,
know?
the pendulum swings. Like I think
Yeah,
the more we're getting into it, because obviously after that all your legs fucking injuries, you're back and you're completely locked in on it. But you're then trying to find this new kind of like, where do I need to be at this
yeah,
point? Like, when
yeah.
do I let the reins go a little bit? It's like letting the reins go. It's actually not. It's actually just getting to a point where your body can fucking grow.
Grow and your body feels fucking normal again. Yeah, 100%. So, and I think for me, I just think I need to let it go back up between 250 and 260 again, and like exactly put on about 12, 15 pounds like you, and that's kind of what I'm going to do now. It'll probably creep up 3 or 4 pounds now by sticking to Al's diet between now and the holiday and the weekend, and then I'll just kind of have that baseline diet there, and I'll have like a meal off in the evening with the
Yeah.
family, and I
Yeah.
might just switch out my eggs and sourdough for fucking eggs and fucking avocado and a bit of fruit, and
Aye.
you know, just live a little bit and switch off because my
And bring
body's gonna soak it up.
like
Yeah,
literally just bring the tension down. Like, you're doing something, you know what it's like? You do something like that, you go have an avocado, you're sitting in a cafe, bit of sunshine, people around you that you fucking love. The whole thing just becomes that burden, that mist list. You're like,
just
oh,
lives.
all right. this
Yeah,
is this is living.
100%, 100%. Yeah, you know, it's crazy how your mind just gets so hyper focused then, and now when you're at that point, you don't want to let go, like as well, isn't it? Like, you know,
Even with the work side of things, so like, I like doing, obviously, I love all this now, but and I was still like, I'm still doing this now, but with a much like easier mindset, a much more relaxed mindset with it, in terms of it. Like, again, I was like going, why was I getting so like hyper stressed when I'm doing the work anyway? But
yeah.
there's, again, it's this, but like, what's like in terms of PEDs and all now, like, Connor, what are you running for like this phase, and how long does that look like for you? Not to be an interview mode, but I find
No, no, you can ask. So basically, now what Al has just done, he's pulled back my testosterone now to, for me, my TRT dose is 225 milligrams per week. So we're literally just dropped back to 225 this week. We pretty much pulled it the week of the show anyway,
yeah,
because I got bloods done literally the Saturday before fly. 1 week out, I got bloods taken, and my blood, which I did on my YouTube, went down through them completely, so you can see them all. My estrogen was a little bit higher than where it wants to be because I think maybe my test bottle was slightly overdosed. I think I was sitting around 120 nanomole, and normally want to be about 80, 90.
yeah.
So we just added in a small bit of Rimidex that week and just pulled out testosterone, let the estrogen drop off, so we didn't have any issues with water. And then literally everything was obviously pulled in. Only had orals then for the last few days, and now it's just literally testosterone. We are adding in MOTS-C for the first time. I'm going to wait till I come back after holidays to start that at 1 milligram in the morning pre-workout, and then we have 6 IU of growth at nighttime. So that's what I've been running the whole of prep, and I think we're going to push the boat with that a little bit now up to 10 IU, potentially taper that up for the first time ever. I've never gone above six, so that will be interesting. And then it's just literally telmisartan. I have Reta's in at 1.5 milligrams, but I actually think I'm going to take that out. Because I find my resting heart rate's kind of yo-yoing a bit, and I know some
Yeah.
people are having that issue with Reta. So, like, and to be honest, I don't really like from an appetite standpoint. It didn't really. It helped food focus a little bit, but I'm so locked in anyway. I don't care, and I don't really want to have like a lack of food focus now in this phase because I know I can control it, and I want to be really hungry for my meals. And if it's not benefiting me from a heart rate variability point, like I just bring back in metformin at night time to help with the GH because I just find that that works anyway. So I'll chat with Al on that, but that's pretty much it. Just TRT growth, and then I'll probably keep in a small baseline of telmisartan, just around 40 milligrams, just for blood pressure wise anyway, as weight increases up naturally after the show as well.
Right. Mine's similar. So mine's
Yeah,
200 tests at the minute. And then like I was thinking, right, I'm gonna experiment a little bit more with growth hormone here. Because financially, to be honest, I'm in the position where I can now like actually do that and commit
yeah,
to that long term. Because I've been running 4 or 5 IU. I've pushed that to 6. I want to take it towards 8 and just gauge it. And
yeah,
I was, when you're taking growth, sometimes it's like, because it's a long term thing, you're going, I don't really know if this is actually doing anything. But we pulled it the last few weeks of the show, and I definitely felt okay drier. I was a bit cautious of that. I was like, I like the fullness, like but you don't know until you know. And then reintroducing it post show, I was like, oh fuck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And then last week it didn't have it. Come back, put it back in, and I was like, oh fuck, right? This is
straight away.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to push that to EIU as well. And I'm getting bloods around here on Friday. I'll be interested in seeing 4 weeks post show. Rhett is an interesting one to me because obviously it's been peptides have been the talk of our industry now for the past sort of 6 months to a year. And I had clients asking me about it. I was like, I didn't want to use it during prep. I was like, I'm just going to say I didn't want any, like I didn't want to put anything in there that I didn't necessarily need that I could manage. And then I thought, right, I'll take it post show to see how I react to it, how it is, what I feel like with it. So I put it in at 2 milligrams, just microdosed it across the week.
yeah.
And like it definitely helped in terms of appetite, but I can't say I was starving coming out of that show because there
Yeah,
was there was weeks there on 4,000 calories. There was definitely the food focus wasn't there the same. But with that, then it draws me the other way. I was going, I don't really need to eat this. And that was nearly like limiting and it was limiting the enjoyment of wanting to go out socially with people. I was
a
like,
hundred percent.
you
Yeah.
know,
Did you find as well by adding it in that quickly? Do you notice that like your food? I don't know whether it tastes different or it doesn't give you the same satisfaction.
no satisfaction in it.
Yeah,
It took away the enjoyment of food.
yeah.
I also, right, and this is something I'd read, like my vision got very blurry.
Yes, I can notice that sometimes even the
Uh-huh.
morning after the injection, it can be a little bit like there's like a sheen of water over your eyes sometimes, kind
I,
of like, yeah,
I went to the opticians. I was like, I think prep's blind at me.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I was genuinely like, and then the heart rate, I was like, I didn't even read anything about the resting heart rate, and I was looking at my resting heart rate, and I was like, that's up and down and yo-yo.
Down mine yo-yoing like fuck, yeah, mine is
So
now as well.
I took it out there. I don't need it. I'm in
No,
4,600 calories, but I wanted to see. So I can understand from like, there's also an aspect of it, and this is terrible. This is just me being fucking stalwart that I don't really like because of the reason why I like to bodybuild is the challenge of it, and that
100%. And
that
I,
morality theory
yeah,
from it.
I know, yeah, and that's kind of why I didn't want to do it. But then on the other flip side of it, my lipids, even taking orals and everything, my week out, my cholesterol and HDL and LDL are literally fucking really good, the best
Right?
have been. So you know what I mean? And that's obviously the effect Retta has as well on that. So, but maybe I feel like, well, it served its purpose till now. And then obviously we're going to be getting bloods done every 6 to 8 weeks now, and we can see. But the last thing I want now is to be tapering food up and not having the same enjoyment for food. I don't care about being hungry in this post-show phase because that's the enjoyment part for me is like knowing that and then you also know when you're starting to get closer to the hitting that wall with your
Yeah,
appetite because
yeah,
then you don't really know it's kind of up and down and then you could take even if you're microdosing you still might get the day after a little bit more of a surge and it's like it's just yeah I don't want it but the health reason was why I used it and now I'm kind of like okay we've got it to this point I don't want to fucking use a post show now I'd rather be starving and just let my food come up naturally anyway.
that's why I'm interested in the blood work they'll be taking because I'd always had issues coming out the back end of a prep with low HDL.
Yeah,
LDL was never in a bad spot, so that was one of the main reasons. Obviously, alongside aside the appetite, just to gauge it because. But I think with any of these, it's interesting. Obviously, the MOT-C you're putting in, like some people are like they're taking fucking every peptide. Well, must have some bank balance like. But what's the positive in MOT-C?
Matsuya, I suppose, is a big how it affects with ATP and energy. So what you'll even like, I suppose, the best person who's been posting a lot about it has been Jordan Peters as of late. But he's been using, I think he's increased it up, but he started at 1 milligrams pre-workout. But the big thing from it, obviously, is lots of health benefits in terms of similar things to what we're saying with Retta there, from an energy point of view, mitochondrial health. But the energy wise, what you're going to get in return from your training is
Yeah,
supposed to help really. It's nearly in some ways a steroid without being a steroid because it's going to help you perform better in the gym, recover better between the sets. So obviously, then you're able to technically be more anabolic or be more progressive in your training. So that in return, when your food's higher and you're pushing food, you should be able to kind of respond if you're training properly to get more of a stimulus and more growth from it, and really just fuel performance. That's the main thing for me and why we're using it. And there's obviously Al has been trialing it himself. He's been using it on a few other clients in the same period and that as well, and has seen really good benefits. So that's been something that we're saying, right, that's going in as part of the stack then after as well, you know.
I'll have
And
to see how you get on with it because it's something. These are things that I'm interested in trialing. Like, I mean, I feel I had enough time on Reddit to go. I have my opinion on it now.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, I mean, I signed back up the Jordan Peters log actually, and I
yeah,
this stuff, and it's like, holy shit!
yeah.
At some point, I kind of go, how do you know?
How do you know? Yeah, I know.
Like,
Look,
how do you know what's working and not just do it?
yeah. And I think if you're speaking about, there's not really like there obviously there's loads of other ones out there, but Reddit, Motzi are the big ones now at the minute. And like I'm using a little bit of BBC and
Mhm.
TB500 now just to drop off a bit of information now as well. The last couple of weeks, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But like, I don't really think you need in terms of even the health phase. Once your food's going up, and I feel like when you bring back in the GH like you've done there now, and you let your testosterone kind of sit at the higher end of normal, that's the sweet spot. Like,
Yeah, probably
because
that.
yeah, once your sleep is good and I feel like that's where I actually can make most of my progress anyway. Even in the off season when I have periods off, I can still feel like I'm making a lot of progress once my sleep is nailed because you're putting less compounds into your body and it's fresher. You
Yeah.
know, and I think we talked about that before, that nearly a period where I made the most progress during COVID was training out my garage, and I was literally taking 6 IU of GH and TRT, and I was training twice a day and having a nap during the day, and I was eating like a motherfucker, and I grew like a fucking weed. You know what I mean? And it really is as simple as that. Like when it comes and you can look at Jordan Peters, I know, and like obviously he's a freak and everything, but when you think about it, like he's still not even a professional. He's strong, but he's like what? He's just pounding in every compound under the sun. And like you said, where is the point? How does he know which is working? Is it the synergy of all of them now that is giving him this, or is it just one of them? You can't tell, you know?
Also haven't seen his physique. Not
Yeah,
certainly not putting Jordan Peters down. Do you know what I mean? But like, yeah, there's just a lot going on there. There's still a hell of a lot going on there, and he sees himself as an experiment, which is fair play.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
so, but like, yeah, I'd like to be a bit more precise in terms of like what is actually going on with this for this.
yeah,
I've got a few questions that I'm sort of actually wondering about because I know what it's like. You come out of the prep and you're like, right, how's the off season look? And certain compounds, people have asked a few questions which you'll go into. One of them, and it's something that I'm actually interested in, is like because obviously the shortage of Masteron and Primobolan people are struggling with. Although I think a few people have got some sources, anyways, to come out of it with. But MPP, have you had any experience using Nandrolone propionate?
yeah. I've used that a small bit. Most of the time I would have that. It'd be nearly like I could be running test and master on, and then that could be over a long period of time, and then the MPP might go in for the last phase of the off season as well, and just gives that extra. I do like it compared to say in the past where I've used Deca and have fucking issues with blood pressure and fucking ED and everything. When obviously starting back bodybuilding, it was Sust and Deca was just the cycle for everyone to take, you know. Um, so MPP, I do like it, but like normally, I think the most, even in the last off-season phase that we used it, I think it was about 150, 200 milligrams, just a little top up on top of the master on base, which could have been close to say 800 or 900, or even 1,000 milligrams.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, it must have been very early doors when I shouldn't have been anywhere near some of the stuff.
Yeah.
At the start, you're like, oh, try this. But like my thoughts were run 50 milligram
Yeah.
MPP,
Yeah.
potentially to start with, or potentially put it in the back end to see and gauge it a little bit more because I would like to go down the 19 no route a little bit, and obviously not go down the route of training and off season.
Yeah.
To see just how it works as well. I've heard people say about some like mental side effects alongside some of these 19 nors that can come into play a little bit.
Yeah, but I think exactly everybody's different. I think if using it at that dose, I've never really had any problems. When I've used Deca, I definitely had. Like nearly like where you kind of feel like nearly the opposite of where you do on prep, and you're a little bit. You can still be in your own head and being a little bit like more depressed and down mood. But I think MPP is obviously the faster acting one. It's in and out. So if you're using that at a low dose and you find that sweet spot, like I don't think you really need to be going over, because at the end of the day, it's just I think the benefit of it is just having enough in there to help with carrying a little bit of extra fluid in the body, which obviously in turn helps with joints and training and everything as well. So I think it does help when we're at the higher end of off season where you're pushing your peak weights and you want a little bit of extra lubrication on the body and stuff as well. And that's where I kind of found like it's worked. But even the last off season, I didn't even add in NPP. It was just mass and testosterone. So
Yeah, you get a lot
it's
from
not the
that.
be all and end all. Like, I think,
You get a lot from that. I find it interesting. Like, I know it has quite a large impact. Can do again. It's dangerous in the dose with a lot of the stuff, and it's so
yeah,
individual. Like on that dopamine response within the brain. So, like again, like with tren, you find that but
yeah,
then it's balanced out by having higher levels of testosterone, where it gives you that little bit oof, up the way.
yeah. And I think that's the thing for me even now as well. Like I'm 35 now. Like I've messed around with mad cycles and done this before, but I know the longer you're doing this and you're doing it properly and you focus on the basics and you have that little bit of assistance in there that's going to help with recovery, that's sweet spot for you. Because there's no point adding in these compounds like say I did and having a super draw in there for a long time when it's affecting me mentally. But why in the off season would you add that further depression
No.
from adding in too much MPP just because you know it's going to try and make you bigger? But realistically, if your mental health is suffering or that's still added stress in your body, your brain. So I guarantee you, you think oh, I'm taking this, I'm I need to take this to get bigger or whatever. But realistically, you could be making the same progress, if not more, and feel 10 times better by not having it in there. So it's all person dependent, really.
Yeah, and there's that adverse effect with sleep and all too, because
Yeah,
like that's the big thing. It's like you've been so long without it, you're like, this is the anabolic tool in which I'm missing. That is the bit.
yes,
You really go once that's back, it's game on.
yeah,
That's the way I see it. Connor, we've obviously had the Olympia a couple of weeks back now, but I think it's worth
yeah. We need to go back to this because you
a
think
bit
you're
of
ready
a
to
discussion with
screw
this. And I
screw me
didn't
over.
miss you back, but wasn't very fucking happy. So I worked out the points myself. Basically, what happened, I worked out the points myself. I'd done a wee system, right? They're basically
Neil's system, whatever way he's doing
it
his
worked out for
system.
me. It worked out for me. First place, right? If they say somebody came third, somebody was first, we had them down as first. There was 2 points. The person with the most points lost. The person with the least points won. Then Connor put it in the Fuyad Abiyad hostile app, and it came out with something very, very different.
Yeah.
I know. So I know maybe we'll meet halfway, but
I
I'll have
think we'll
to
have to meet
say
halfway in this one, but I don't
fucking
know what way.
bullshit.
Uh,
I call it.
but yeah, we were going to do a recall, but yeah, we need to probably go back to that anyway as well. And
Where have we
because
got it?
obviously this is the post Olympia, and just to give a little bit, obviously it's gone and been and gone now the last few weeks. But do you think do you think that Derek was the deserving winner anyway? Do you?
Yes, I suppose so. Like
Yeah,
it's not the winner I would have liked from a physique standpoint, but then I look and go like, well, then who else? I like Heidi. I like
yeah,
Heidi. He wasn't as good on the Saturday, Friday night. Samson was a shock, to be honest. Like obviously I had him first. You had Nick in first,
yeah.
uh, and he had him second, and that was like he did not look good on that first
No,
night. He
no.
really, really didn't. He looked a lot better, I thought, though. And I think he's getting some unfair criticism too, to be honest.
Ah, he is like it's just one of them things. Like he took the judges. The judges have been saying to him, "You need to be sharper. You need to be sharper," and he listened to him and did that. And this is where sometimes, like we all fall victim to this, to listening to other people. And like I could even argue from my physique at the British finals there, it
Yeah.
was the first time my glutes and hamstrings were even more nailed on Milan. But I'm looking at the rest of my body and I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it. Like, you know what I mean? Why suffer for your strong parts? And then you remember you're standing, and Samson is okay. He's still technically the biggest guy, but he wasn't now because of this. So he's after losing technically his most dominant factor on the Olympia stage, which is he is taller and bigger than everyone else. And to a point where Andrew Jack nearly made him look like a fucking child in some shots.
He
And
literally regressed.
yeah,
He literally regressed about 4 years.
a
Honestly, literally
hundred.
from the Prague shows when he was just starting to come up with it.
Yeah, and that's the fine balance of bodybuilding. That's where if you look at it, people argue, "Oh, Derek's a bit soft through his chest and arms and stuff." But like, you hear a lot of body. Everyone needs to play to their own. And I think Chris Aceto as well was probably smart with Derek, knowing that Samson was probably coming in like this, and they went in Derek's shape
Oh,
is unbelievable. He is in condition, but they did go a little bit fully blown than they normally would. But what that meant was Derek's legs looked
yeah,
fucking twice as big as Samson's.
yeah,
Yes, okay, they might not be as conditioned, but when you're standing in a lineup there and all these guys are the biggest and most heavily muscled in the world, like it's the Olympia. You want to see them at their biggest. It is it's open bodybuilding. Like if you want to just see condition, look at classic or whatever. But you want to see the silhouette. You want to see everything, and like like it's hard to argue that Derek had a balance of everything, although he wasn't the most conditioned. Everything else in terms of, you look from the back. Probably Nick was the only other person from the back that could, probably have beaten Derek across looking at the top 4 or 5. So it's hard to argue with it. And I know a lot of people from seeing interviews that were there all technically said it was Derek technically was the clear winner. We're looking at a stream, we're looking at pictures as well, and you have to be there, like, don't you?
to me, he was the best balance. He was
Yeah.
also, to be honest with you, Martin Fitzwater was very good. He just didn't have the
Oh,
size of Derek.
no, and that's why I'd look like obviously I'm very excited to see him in Prague now this weekend. But Martin's got to a point now where I think, like, in that man, I don't know if you watched some of his videos leading into the show, but he suffered. Like he's a freak of nature. He's like he could do something that I couldn't do. He literally was going zero carb for like 3, 4 weeks for the Olympia, and then you compare him and Stefan's coaching him, and then Stefan's also with Urs, and Urs is getting 700 gram carbs high days every second day,
Yeah.
and condition wise. There's not a massive difference, but Martin obviously just a gnarlier looking physique, but like he is really after making a step up, although his placing is lower than last year. It's not really when you look at the lineup, and it's very hard to see even Nick Walker surpassing Martin now because I feel like Martin's just going to keep getting better if he just holds them classic lines, what he's saying, and just everything grows nice and smartly, which is what he's talking about. He's gonna be a four. He's like the white Phil Heath in a way, you know.
Yeah, he very much has that roundness about him. Like
Yeah,
when Nick Walker, like this, people just they're 1 minute he's the favorite, he's fucking everybody's favorite, then
yeah.
everybody dislikes him. Like and you're getting shots where he's hitting the back double bicep, and people are taking pictures of the side, and you're like, I pretty much every
Every
bodybuilder will have that. Like
And
that.
if you, yeah, and if you watch the posing video I did with Johnny Mack, that's exactly what he's saying to do. When you're in that pose, all he says you're thinking about is hamstring, biceps. Let your stomach hang out and breathe. Recover yourself for the next few shots that are coming, and that's where letting the stomach. Well, if you're trying to hold that stomach and crunch everything, you're bringing your pelvis forward. You're narrowing your back, and then you're gassing yourself out even more. So any bodybuilder you look from the side should be nearly blown out and have a pregnant belly from the back. But
Yeah,
like, and then for the page that actually shared it was probably like Beyond the Stage or one of them. Like you're kind of thinking like these guys are promoting bodybuilding. They should know what they're fucking talking about. Like,
no better. I
Yeah,
thought the same. Like, and you're here, like next strength and power with the bubble cut, and you're like, man, just fucking like load yourself up to your 270 or whatever the hell
yeah.
you are, and see if you even got that. But
Exactly. And they're giving out, oh, he's flat, he's small. But then someone comes in and they have a little bit of stomach distension. And you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, bubble gut. Like, no, he's just trying to fucking fill up for the show. And okay, yeah, he might be a little bit, I could have had like GI issues and everything. But like, there's so many variables when it gets to that last day. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like one thing off and Nick is getting fucking hockeyed. And yet, at his worst, he's technically sixth best bodybuilder in the world for someone who's not got the best structural or say prettiest genetics. Like, you know what I mean? You're kind of like a bad day at the office, sixth in the best Olympia lineup in years. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, where's all this hate coming from? And he looked much better on the second night. But
yeah,
it's hard to know with his legs and everything. I feel he needs to more kind of quads in them front shots from the back. It's just frightening that
the
double bicep
back's
and
lights out. The
yeah,
back's the best back. Honestly, I think the best back in the show. I think it's better than
yeah,
Derek. On the
yeah,
front, and I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he's not going, "Do I need more quad weight? I think I've got
yeah,
enough." I'm sure he's fucking trying everything he can do. There's going to be a limitation there in terms of genetics for that too. Like, there's a big part of that.
yeah, yeah.
Here's a one for you actually. Who was your biggest disappointment at Olympia, and who was your biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise Well, I suppose I have to say good veto because I left him out, even though I knew he was going to potentially surprise me. But I don't know
That's
why
a
I had.
down in my scored list. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I had him seven. I think I had him bang on before I changed that as well. And I was like, his posing's going to let him down. And I was looking at Beirut's coming in, and I blundered that. I think he looked phenomenal. To be fair, and then obviously Brandon Curry was another good one who looked
I went,
really fucking good.
yeah,
But the standout for me was Andrew Jacked. I think like just because. Obviously, he made Samson look like a child. He got the balance of condition and everything very good. Some of his side shots let him down, which I think could have even helped him push Hardy and Derek even a
definitely.
little bit more. Um, but it was really good to see because, like, I was kind of doubting him a little bit, knowing that he's like close to mid 40s now, and um, well, he's still improving, and like he's so fresh because he's not really in the bodybuilding game that long,
Uh-huh.
and he's a freak in nature. Like he doesn't look human when he's. I don't know if you've seen that Jilko video of him posing from Olympia, and it's like, what in the name of God is that? Like,
Like it really is. To me, my biggest surprise, obviously Andrew was there because I had him a little bit lower, but
yeah,
my big surprise was Brandon Curry. I
yeah,
looked at him, fuck this guy. He generally could be challenging. When you seen him beside people, he was the roundest I've seen him in a long time.
his
Conditioning was
legs,
very good. Like his leg, I looked brilliant. And I honestly thought I'm putting him in the top 10 out of esteem. More
yeah.
so. I had biggest disappointment is probably Bruce for me because I was kind of expecting more. Understand why it didn't go his way, but even at that, I still don't think he's standing against them top five, six guys, to be honest.
No, it's hard to know. Like obviously it was his first time in there. We don't know how much better he could have been if everything was technically right. But like yeah, he didn't really like I think it was what lineup was he standing in? I think he was beside Jordan Hutchinson or
Yeah.
one and Jordan was fucking making him look kind of small. And Urs was beside him as well, I think, and it was like they were even standing out more in some of the front double than Baruz was as well. So I don't know as well with Milos what way he played it because Milos can sometimes get it perfectly right, but
All right.
he's all or completely wrong. So again, it's very hard to know. Hopefully, we get to see Baruz do a few shows now against these guys and kind of get a proper look at him because that was only his one chance, really.
I'm surprised he didn't come to Europe for some of these shows.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good opportunity. Like Rubiel as well. A lot of people were touting him, but like there's just no separation in
no.
them legs and stuff. He's a long way to go with it. I think even though the
From
size is,
yeah, his
it's
his quarter turns though. Did you see his quarter turns even beside Derek? Like
uh,
he,
uh,
if
side.
if he can, I don't know, like from a shape point, but if he can get a bit more detail and condition in them legs, like he could move up very, very easily because some of them shots he does, like the quarter turns, he looks kind of very detailed through the side of him, and just
Side
the
leg looks
side leg
bang
thickness
on.
front to back is just frightening. His serrations in his chest from the side. But yeah, it's just down to I suppose how he's been training him, how his muscle grows. He's just a freak of nature. Obviously, myostatin is just fucking totally innovated in his body, and it's just like all he used to do was literally probably fucking put 20 kilos aside in a squat bar, and his legs blow up. Like, so will he ever get proper conditioned legs? It's hard to know.
Probably not. I don't think so. I think it's just if I would take it. Do you know what he's got?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, 100%.
you
Give
know,
it to me all day. My fucking quads need him, so they do at this very moment in time.
to me, one of the biggest, not surprises, but like one of the best things in Olympia this year was Sean Clarita as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Like he stood beside Kean Pearson, and honestly, I think I had him beating him at points. I was going back and forth because like the structure, but I hate when somebody just wins off of essentially what I see as structure alone with a small
Yeah.
weight. Because you look at Sean Clarita, you're like, he's full, he's fucking Ronnie Coleman Phil Heath on
Yeah.
a 5 foot frame, so peeled as well, and the back shots.
Back
Like
shots. The back shots were the ones, and I obviously see the comparisons that they did. But I think John Jewett's probably going to start getting a lot now
yeah,
of phone calls and messages, given that. But like even I watched the videos of Sean and John working their way into it, and John is so data driven. Obviously, it's great. It's probably to a point where it's probably overkill if you compare it to Chris Aceto or Chris Aceto just walk in. Yeah, just have a little bit of salt there and then he comes. I'll come back in an hour, and then it's like perfect. Well, John's like, weigh this, piss into this bottle. This is set up this light in here, but you can't fault the look he brought Sean in because they nailed it,
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah. I like his
Yeah.
stuff. I find it very interesting. It's
Oh,
like,
so do I. I
yeah,
love that as well. I think because I like obviously I love the simplicity of bodybuilding, but I do find that aspect very interesting, and even how John self coaches and stuff in it as well. To be that kind of like to be able to step back from yourself and take photos of yourself and be that like, analytical and make them adjustments so finely, and like it's a skill in itself, like
I'd love to try it, but I know for an absolute fact my head would be
Oh
gone.
yeah, I know. I know because it's even like thinking now, like where you're holding yourself back from eating and stuff. It's like you're just in your own head. It's so hard to make that call, like, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Like, to go in a couple of the shows we were on too there, because obviously you had Prague this weekend coming. The British, well, obviously you were at that, you didn't see it. Like the stream for that, can I just say, was maybe I know it was free, right? But
Yeah,
something
but
you wouldn't take a punch in the face for free. I wouldn't watch that for free because it was
right,
brutal. There's a camera in front of it, so you couldn't see past it. There was light
gee,
at them coming at you as well. It was, but like I think Crizzo was the guy. He was still like I think easily the best. But your man, what was his name? Johan, is it?
Johan or Sasan, you mean?
No,
No.
came third. But came
Oh,
third.
Johan Perez. Sorry. Yes,
He looked
yes.
good. He looked good.
Oh man, he has a phenomenal physique. That is just like when you see how the whole body shapes and flows, like that kind of way. It's just it's madness. Sorry, yeah, sorry. Um, you see how it all flows and puts together is fucking crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
What do
Yeah.
you think of Holland's head? Like,
He's getting a lot of flack. Look, and obviously I chat to James a good bit, and I didn't really even get to. I just went up and just gave him a hug and said hello to him before he went on stage there. But like, I can understand why he's getting flack, but at the same time, like he put it simply in a recent podcast there, where he's the one paying his bills. He's the one,
no.
it's his reputation on the line. I also feel like there's a lot of pressure on him now. He has a kid. He's coming technically to the end of his prime, and like he hasn't really got it right mentally in his own or landed things away. And if he's looking back at the last years, he probably feels like he's regressed and some of these younger guys are passing him out. So he's like, I need to do something fucking sharpish here. So I don't know how, because obviously you're seeing bits and pieces of what was done with Chris and how it was handled. So I just try and ignore that. But like the fact that, and he just said it clearly, he says, I need someone who can put their eyes on me, who I can drive to, or they can drive to me. They can pinch my skin, they can see me in person. And I understand that completely because I do not actually think now, after working with other coaches, even working with Carl online, who's brilliant, was chatting up the weekend and everything, but I know photos do not do me any justice.
Yeah.
Time, like you can change, like you just you can't see my physique in photos, and it's very hard. Then if you're sending photos to everyone every day, and it's like saying taking like a millimeter off a circle every day. If it's shrinking, you
Yeah.
don't really. It's very hard to pinpoint that. While if you have someone looking at you in person, and they can see in 3D in real life if you're losing pop what's where this is more detailed here now. I think that's the comforting thing. I think he just needs that now for his own peace of mind, and we can already see the look he brought to that show. Now any coach could have potentially took what Chris Tuttle did for him there and probably fed him up and had him somewhere looking like that, but I think he has to make the call for himself. And I think that, look, it's obviously working for him now. And I think it's a good look. And I think, look, he's going to be in for Prague now as well. But
Yeah.
again, it's just, he's against some of these guys now that are far superior. Like he's up against Samson, Keown, Martin now. He's probably going to land in a similar position. But
Yeah.
he is bringing back the shed of old times again, the James that we know of, like,
He needs that size, doesn't he? He
He
needs that.
does.
It's like,
And
I think that's maybe a thing of like playing to somebody else's game when you
yeah,
sort of say about that. It's
ex
like, need to get in, need to get in. We're actually fully blowing round, fucking freak show, massive muscle, get on stage because
100%.
just to touch on Prague, because obviously that's coming this weekend too. I think that'll be our great show. Like, I love the idea of the crossover and see because beforehand as well, before the Olympia, everyone's going, Keon Pierce could be open Mr. Olympia. Now it's stock isn't so hot, even though we won it. So
Yeah.
like that'll be an interesting lineup to me. And then obviously Samson, I can't see him regaining what he'd lost in that time.
No.
It'll be fuller, but
So do you want to take it all or nothing then? We do a top five on
yeah,
Prague then, do we?
let's go.
We're
Are we putting it on my score sheet? Or are we doing your fucking score sheet?
putting on the well. If we're going to do it, I've just put it into the Fuad one. And actually, speaking
Right.
of that, I came sixth in the global ranking for the British Grand Prix as well.
Must have been nobody else done it, Connor. I'm
Uh,
telling you. Right. Let's go. I'll put it in as well. Yeah. Right. So we're top five.
yeah, we'll just do top five then, will we?
Right.
Do we need to look at the list, or I don't think we do, really, do we?
I kind of know who the top four is.
Yeah, so do I. So what we
Rizzo's there too, is he?
what's that?
Michael Crezzo's there.
Rizzo's there as well, yeah.
Right. And is your man Johan doing it again?
Johan's doing it as well. So we're probably going to have the same top five, maybe. But what order are we going to go in?
Right. I'll even let you go first here.
Yeah,
I'll let you.
yeah. Well, I don't think Samson. I'm worried Samson isn't going to regain what he's gained.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it.
So, and I've seen updates, and I've seen Crizzo in person getting tanned. I know what Crizzo fucking looks like. Obviously, I haven't seen Samson, but given the look that Crizzo did there as well, I'm kind of thinking like it's very hard to ignore the fact this is the best Crizzo we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if it is Crizzo in first, Keown in second, and Samson in third, or Samson in second and Keown in third, and either flip flop Samson or Keown. Um, so I'm actually going to go for Crizzo as winning this show,
Good man.
which is a bit mad, but
He's
so I'll
very,
go.
what about Martin? You have Cresswell beating Martin Fitzwater?
I think so.
Okay. Right. Well, I'm not going to pick Cresswell. Like, I'm going to go. When I in my head, when I look at when I think of Samson, what he looked like, I'm thinking, fuck, he could be third or fourth, but he's going to look slightly different. And did he make up much in condition? I don't think he looked that much more conditioned for being that much smaller.
No,
Really
no.
didn't. I'm gonna say Martin. I'm gonna take a punt. Martin.
Yeah, no. I
Martin.
think yeah.
So Martin first for me. Your number two.
My number two then is Martin. I think I, it's probably could be a bold call because like obviously he's fifth, but I feel like Crizzo hasn't competed at the Olympia this year,
Yeah.
and I just think how he's looking. I think from a size standpoint, and he's in condition that I think him and Martin are going to be very comparable,
Hmm.
in a lot of ways. But I also feel like Crizzo is a freak. And I probably I prefer Martin as a bodybuilder, but I'm gonna weirdly say Crizzo's gonna win this as well.
Just confusing me
So
now.
Crizzo, Martin,
I'm having. I'm going to Samson. I think it's a safe bet, even though it's not a safe bet in second. For me, third for yourself.
third is Samson.
Samson third. Keon third. We're very different here in our top five. So that's something interesting.
Yeah, I don't even want because I'm just what am I after doing out there as well. Actually, with Samson, right? Because I did say Samson second, and then I was like, so I should have had sorry, Crizzo, Samson,
Right.
Martin,
Yeah. Then number four,
Keown.
Keon. Then I'll go Crezzo in four.
Yeah,
Fifth spot.
Juan or Perez or whatever his name is.
Sass doing it.
Sass is not in, no.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably say, well, I'd love to see James sneak that because sixth place doesn't seem nice in this sort of Prague lineup. But
No, but I can't. He could, but I don't think. Judging what that just structurally that Spanish kid is fucking unbelievable. Like you know what I mean?
leg sweep, small waist.
Yeah,
I have Juan in fifth as well. So you've Crezzo one, Samson two, Martin three, Keon four, Juan five. I've got Martin one, Samson two, Keon three, Crezzo four, and Juan five. And I'll stick that in the
yeah,
bro time, so
yeah,
I'll do as well.
yeah.
That'll be interesting. That's gonna be a good show. We'll watch that. I think it's a 1 day show too, isn't it? The
It's a
Saturday.
1 day show. Yeah, it is. It is. Like obviously the big thing I've gone for a very mad call with Crizzo beating both Samson and Martin there, and obviously you've gone for a bit of a bold call with Martin beating Samson as well. Like you know, and like Samson could end up winning this. I think obviously he's 12, 14 pounds up, but I even seen that comparison. I know it's only videos about like how like you said, it's like it's hard to gain that back properly, isn't it? That, you know, I don't know if he really lost tissue, but it does take a while to feed back up, and like maybe he will prove us wrong completely. But I also feel like they were talking about that. There's no way he did lose tissue, but like we know, like judging off even how like the low food Samson was dieted on before for his previous preps, how low. I remember him even having like 2 eggs for breakfast there in the last Olympia. Like so, like you know, I think there definitely was some tissue loss there.
And there was like, I mean,
Yeah,
through the back, you don't like you
no,
know, you go that flat that your back completely disappears. You know, so I'm sure I'll regain it, but not in 2 weeks. I don't see it
yeah,
in 2 weeks, but we will find out very soon. Connor, do you want to end me a couple of questions I got in?
yeah, go for it. Yeah,
So, Flynn Cochran, I believe, said, "What's your opinion on new age style open bodybuilding versus the old school?" So, like, yeah, we'll take from that what you want.
yeah. The new way, obviously, he probably means like where stuff has been a little bit, say, too much John Jewett style stuff probably being applied to training and you know, doing the basics. And I think like if we're talking about being young and starting this all over again, just pretend that you're 18 to 19-year-old, and you've probably got this from listening even to the last few podcasts with me and Neil, is like we even in this podcast we were talking about the most anabolic thing is, which sounds crazy to some of these new age bodybuilders, is sleep.
Yeah.
I would put sleep over extra fucking 500 milligrams of test or any anabolic all day long. And other people would not believe that. And I think when you break down bodybuilding, you know, even for me, going into this next phase, I'm actually getting my home gym set up so I can actually be able to have a little bit more time at work and life balance and everything. And I'm going to have a decent enough setup, but it's going to be the basics at the same time. And I am telling you, the basics are all really matter. Once you're sleeping, you're eating, you're training, and you're progressively getting stronger, and you're obviously keeping an eye on your scale weight, and you're not getting too fat, but you're growing and getting stronger. That's all bodybuilding really is. And I think we can all overcomplicate things by looking at these fancy exercises, even down to some of the stuff that we're talking with these peptides and that, like going overboard. So I think if you're just getting into this and you want to grow, like you need to keep it as simple as possible so you have only them few variables to measure, and then if you decide to add in another thing, you know whether that's going to have a positive or negative effect. Well, if you're trying to get too fancy with your training and stuff, your food, ever, just keep everything as basic as possible. So my approach is I naturally am in this game 15 years. I'm always going to have that old school approach, but I do like taking some of the, I suppose, some of the proven things that you can apply, but the basics are always 80, 90% of it. Them little bits are only should be 10%. And to someone starting this game, they should not even matter in the slightest. They should just be focused on sleep, eating, and training. And that really is it in a nutshell. And if you're growing, you're getting stronger. That's all, like that's bodybuilding. You know what I mean?
I'd
Yeah.
agree. From that, I actually took out that question. We'll talk on this too, because that's great points. But like the actual physiques themselves and the open
Yeah.
bodybuilding classes
Yeah.
compared to the old school, so whether that be, I don't know, 90s maybe being old school now, or noughties maybe even being old school now.
Yeah. So the debate, I suppose, whether it was the 90s better than nowadays. And like it's, see, again, we're looking at different cameras, streams, pictures. Yeah, you could argue different physiques, different genetic anomalies. Like you look, like would Dorian Yates, like if you put Dorian Yates in the lineup, would he win the Olympia? Probably, but like how much? Obviously, he came in shredded some years, but he was also big and round. You look back to Jay Cutler, you could argue he was very similar to a Derek Lunsford winning this year. There was times where Jay Cutler didn't have shredded glutes or anything, you know. Like there's just different physiques. Obviously, the classic now is kind of pulling lads away like from that condition standpoint. And like if that was back then, would Flex Wheeler have done open? Would he have been in classic? So it's just so spread out now, and there's such a diverse like number and amount of competitors. It's very hard to do a direct comparison. But let's just, if we put the top 10 of this year's Olympia versus say 1999, or looking back when Nasser and all these guys, like they're still the same freaks, but there's only ever been one Nasser. There's only ever going to be one Martin Fitzwater. There's only ever going to be one
Yeah.
Samson, one Ronnie Coleman, you know, like
I
It's
think sometimes they're comparing the best of a generation. Like
yeah,
sometimes they're like 5, 6 time Mr. Olympia titles against like I mean you put in Phil Heath, who's kind of back in your generation that was dominating at a point. Like he's going to stand in any lineup. Your man
and
Max Muscle does them comparisons and they're interesting. Like would Dorian win every year? I don't think he would. I think he'd win some
no,
years because some years he came off, and
yeah,
it's people they seem to think that everybody came in conditioned. That's all you hear from these guys. Everybody was conditioned. Like, no, they weren't.
they
Like, no,
weren't.
they weren't. Like, you're seeing the top 3 or 4, and then you're talking about Lee Labrada. Brilliant physique, crushed now for the standards we have because the guys are absolutely massive. Back then, naughties especially, obviously there was more mass and stuff, but to me the lineups are deeper. And then you're looking at, as you say, cameras, streams. Like you talk about, the Iron Man shows and that sort of stuff back in the day. You're looking at the cameras going, that's unbelievable. But then that's like taking on your iPhone compared to a live stream. You get
Yeah,
your iPhone, you're like, fuck, I look peeled there. You get
yeah,
an stage shot, you're like, look a bit soft. Like they're very different things we're comparing.
100%. Yeah, like, and I think overall, like if you even compare this year's Olympia, like I feel like there's a good balance now of condition and muscle. Like some guys, like you look at Martin Fitzwater there, you look at like these guys are peeled, like you know what I mean? Andrew Jack was peeled. That you get Kai Green though and put Kai Green from when he could not win Olympia because Phil Heath was there. He could potentially win the Olympia the last year. So again, we're just using the best of generations and moving them around. It's kind of like there's just different physiques but I don't think there's any really major difference at all in terms of condition. I just think bodybuilding has evolved slightly from a judging standpoint. So now guys are pushing fullness more and roundness in certain shows, and that all we can. I can carb up for the next week and get a tub of Dream Tan and go up to PCA Galway in 2 weeks' time and look completely different than I did 2 weeks ago. Like you know what I mean? But like, what look is going to get rewarded, or what look are people judging off, that kind of way. It's like the physique can change so quickly, and every show is different, every lighting's different, like what we're saying as well. So I don't think the difference really is it should be because it gets a hard time sometimes bodybuilding now, doesn't it? Like
It's more eyes on it, with more
yeah,
cameras, more
yeah,
exposure. So you're going to get that. They talk about you always go, I wish it was just a win show updates. You always hear these guys look back, everybody looks back with nostalgia. And you look back with nostalgia, it's this like dreamy thing. When actually we're in it, it's fucking not that. But just the magazines, well, that's shit. We want this. We want to see
yeah, I
we
know.
need more access. We want to see more. That's the way it is. Why would we
And
not?
and who's to say in 10 years' time everyone's going to be looking back at this Olympia here now when there was no real standout winner and it was so close and you could literally flip flop the top 7 or 8 guys even like who's like I feel like bodybuilding now is open bodybuilding is more exciting than ever at the minute.
That's it. They're not walking in and going, there's the winner. Who's
That's
first,
it.
second, there's
Like
third. Like,
exactly for them few years of Jay Ronnie, Phil, Kai Green, are just like it was just constantly, going to Olympia. That was just going to be these two guys. Everyone else was battling for third and fourth, like that kind of way. That now you just don't know, like what's going to happen next year. Who's going to, like who's going to move up? Who's going to make the most progress? And that's what's going to make it exciting as well, because I think the hunger that's in some of these younger guys now as well. Like you're really going to see who's locked in now more than ever. Like Urs was first ever Open Olympia. Jordan Hutchinson, the same thing. And I feel like these guys are only after getting their feet wet, like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, where are they going to be in 3 years' time?
that's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah,
There's lots of ones from Classic they'll start moving up to. And
yeah,
then, oh, it's a whole different ball game. And the judging criteria shifts then at that point too. So
yeah.
we start looking at different things. Connor, is there anything more you want to touch on today?
Don't think so, man. No, obviously we'll do a follow up maybe after the Prague and but yeah, not really. I'm going to be dropping my vlog of my post show thoughts and more in depth. Kind of, we obviously covered some of that there today anyway. And look, the plan for me now anyway really is just switching off for a bit next year, focus on my wedding, but I'll be still ticking every box, like I said, and that's where, as much as people say it can't be a balance of bodybuilding, but if you're doing everything, getting all your food in, getting to sleep on time, and you're in good form, and the rest of your life is all working, and you're present, everything falls into place, and that's only going to help your physique and help your progression, that kind of way.
I think once that, as I said, I think once that mental burden of like prep is taken
Yeah,
away, like bodybuilding becomes something that can very well fit in your life and make it a hell of a lot better. It's
100%.
just at the back end, as I say, coming out of it, going right. That is hard then, and that does take a lot of your own capacity to be able to perform at that level in back-to-back shows. It really does, and it does set things aside. And I honestly think that's very hard to not have that at that point.
Yeah.
You're going week to week, 6 days between shows, traveling after 5 days. It is just going to simply take away from things, but it's a very short-term thing. To me, then
Yeah.
the next year, year and a half, all right, we have balance. We're
Yeah.
training, doing what we love, making time for people, meeting up with different people as well, because that's been a big thing as well. Doing these sort of things, meeting people in person, growing your environment. It's a fucking wonderful thing. It
I
really
know, I know. Yeah, that's where you just have to do. You have to enjoy it, and the more you step back and look, and that's the one thing I'm taking from this, like as well. This prep, and I probably said it a few times on my vlogs. It's kind of like you look back to when you first started, and even obviously you're not competing at the same level, say, as Martin Fitz, but he's like traveling the world, doing what he loves. Obviously, he's competing to win and has the potential to win in the future. But like we're all on our own journey. We only can go with the cards we're dealt and we're played with. But if we're able to do this and enjoy it, because you're gonna have so many disappointments if you just put the pleasure of places and results in bodybuilding. Because like what we're even saying there, look at the best of the best. Nick Walker, one of the favorites going to Olympia, and then ends up in sixth place and getting all this flack. Well, like you see, like if you're banking on everything to win shows, and some people are lucky enough to they will, but you're gonna not enjoy the whole process. And I think if you can stand back and say, I'm fucking heading off to Milan with my group and my coach and my friends and my fiance, and look where we are now, and you're standing up there and you're seeing that yourself progress from the year before. That's where you should be taking that pleasure and satisfaction from. And so that's why I will say, like, to anyone that's like, don't be rushing this and enjoy it, because like, I don't know, I feel like I'm after blinking and 15 years is gone in this. And I think that's where I'm realizing now after this, like I put so much pressure on myself to win that overall, that I felt like I needed to have that feather in my cap. But now I realize I don't. Like, I got the feedback. I know it could have went either way. We could have competed the day after and I could have won. But like at the end of the day, like I've still got better here. It didn't happen on that day. But look where I've came from. From where the accident. Then I went on to Milan. You know, had a new experience, done the amateur Olympia stage. It's kind of like, you're doing all these things that some of these top level pros are doing, but on a lower scale. But you're still doing what they're doing. And if you can't have that balance in life and enjoy it, it's going to be over before you know it, and you're going to come out of this game very disappointed and feel like you've got nothing to show for, because all them 5 years time people will forget that, oh, you won that show on PCA Galway in December. But the memories you'll have are the things that will last forever. The people you met, like us doing this podcast and meeting up for a session, like building that networking and enjoying the pros, and fucking egging everyone on to be better and be themselves, not like belittling. We talked about this before, the negative culture in Irish bodybuilding. And we should all want people to be our best and get this standard up, get the promotion of these shows. And that's what I do want to say as well. Fair play for your interview. Now see you're going to be doing interviews at the shows as well. So like, this is what it's all about. It's just making this sport fun and enjoyable. Make sure we're all enjoying it and promoting it in a healthy way, that people can see that this is not just a freak show as well, and this is not we're all normal people. And like, bodybuilding should be held in high regard. But we should all make sure that we're getting the best out of our lives and enjoying it as well while we do it.
I can say I built a very good life out of being a very average bodybuilder
Yeah,
because of the connections I've made from it, and because of the passion and meeting different people. It really does. It affords you so many opportunities that you wouldn't get, especially if you're not open to those opportunities or open to meeting those people or putting yourself
yeah,
out.
putting yourself out there, man. That's the thing. And I was like, before my accident, it was the same thing. I just didn't really. I just stuck to myself, and now I'm just saying, fuck what people think. Put myself out there, like, and that's how I've ended up now. I'm just like, I was on the same fucking getting posted on ESN UK's page after Reece Mack and James Hollingshead, and I am half the bodybuilder that they are. But it's like because I've put myself out there, I'm still like, we're all climbing a ladder on our own journey, but like that opportunity would have never came if you don't push yourself and put yourself out there, because like we're all just normal people, and like we're all I suppose climbing the ladder in our own sense. We're just all at different stages, and you just have to enjoy it, but don't be afraid to relate to people and put your story out there. And because I think people can learn a lot, and I think that's why the good thing about this as well, there's people now that are watching this from Ireland that can relate more with us, rather than they're not just listening to some podcast from America, from these pro bodybuilders that like, look, we're just normal guys, we're doing this, and you can do it as well. Just be yourself and enjoy the ride, like.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of good feedback on it, and like, as well. And like I really always appreciate those messages because you kind of go, all right, it gives a bit of
Yeah,
affirmation. You're just
100%.
because we're just catching up, and I think that's the way I wanted this one. We both wanted it to be was just more like a catch up, weekly, every 2 weeks, depending. No real pressure on it.
Yeah.
Not about us, but and where we're at in bodybuilding, which we love to do. So hopefully you all enjoyed it.
You weren't vaping as much today, were you?
Yeah, no, like it's
Yeah.
another. That's what I said to myself, right? I don't need these vapes flat out now, so I'm trying to cut down on them.
Oh man, I'm fucking trying to stop now as well. And going to, after this holiday now, it's like fuck this.
You'll be on the
This
big shisha pipes when you're over there.
no, I hate them. Actually, I don't really like them. They make me feel sick.
You haven't done enough of that then.
Yeah.
No, but guys, obviously, like to do the usual thing at the end here, like, share, subscribe, give it a wee tag and stuff too. I think you're away on holidays, so we might leave it next week. We'll get you
Yeah, when we'll get a catch up when we're back then. So we will, yeah.
2 weeks is good. We'll see where we're at with things.
And
I
then we'll probably by then we'll be planning a trip anyway as well. So
definitely, and I hopefully my blood work's back and I get a wee bit more test on me and I'll be good to go.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
catch you in the natty end.
You're how many weeks now are you into your health phase?
I want this done to be 5 weeks, and
Ah,
then
yeah, sure. You're gonna be fucking good to go down in a few weeks. How are them 5 weeks after
yeah,
flashing by like that?
guys, it's absolutely
Fuck.
it generally flew in, and you're looking
Yeah,
back. It's like a distant memory. To put the vlog up today of the PCA show, and it was like, fuck, that honestly feels a lifetime ago. And
Jesus.
but yes, guys, keep following along, and obviously, Connor, enjoy your holiday, mate. Chill out and
I
get your
will.
track, and then we can get some form of legs in.
The MT2 has gone in as well. I forgot to say I added that in as well.
What's that?
Lanathan.
I was thinking there, you're going to fucking a wee bit redder like around the edge. Yes, guys, follow along, and we will see you soon.